Oftentimes, Batman's mental state is explored by gamers, comic book fans, and cinema enthusiasts. For some reason, this is a field many are curious about. They seem to be very interested in what's going on in his mind, even though various forms of media never really put much emphasis on his psychological state. People are still curious about what's going on behind these angry eyes. So, here, this is my take on his mental state. You will hear about points that no one really touched on before. As all things Batman, his psychological state is also under cloud of mystery. On one hand, he is a mentally very strong man, a man of sheer will that can never be broken. And on the other hand, he seems to be a completely lunatic person who's got damaged beyond repair. Perhaps he's a little bit of both. A sophisticated detective and criminologist as him would know importance of mental health and its impact on him, and he would consult a psychologist on a regular basis. But being Batman is not a professional job. It's much more personal than that. So he is free to let all the wrongs he's seen affect him badly and let them feed him and using them as fuel he needs for the fire to burn. So he continues to become a bone breaking vigilante he is. We simply can't know. As I have stated before, sometimes he's seen mentally strong and very healthy to the point he cannot be broken. This was seen in Arkham Asylum when he was getting repeatedly injected the fear toxin by Scarecrow.
I think you need a little more. Tell me what demons do you have left to beat. Shall we see? Are you enjoying the extra dose, little gut?
They just did not work on him. He was mentally too strong that he was able to withstand all the damages these hallucinations could cause. He did not fear. Perhaps he did know that those hallucinations were just creations of his mind, and thus they cannot be real.
How are you doing this? You've ingested enough toxins to drive 10 men insane. What are you? Why fight it, Batman? You're as crazy as the rest of us. You need us as much as we need you. And to prove it, I'll flood the catacombs with enough fear to break the minds of everyone in Gotham for 100 years.
So, he was not broken even after getting all of those psychotic seizures he was experiencing. He just walked them off like they did not matter. He endured. This could very well be a sign that his psychology cannot be altered easily and he won't get broken under high amounts of stress and he won't act irresponsible acts. He is not a dysfunctional individual who cannot control his actions. He has complete control over his body and muscles at all times. This is called mental strength. He does not even let his anger get a hold on him, even though he is portrayed as a character who was just too angry to die. So, is it that he is too angry but he somehow does not have anger management issues? Or maybe he has anger management issues, which is exactly why he goes out at night just to beat up and break some criminal bones casually. We simply can't really know. All that can be speculated on is this man is just mentally very strong. There are people who suffer from mental health issues, and when they see things, they just do what the things they seem tell them to do. But with Batman, with Bruce Wayne, how many of you have seen him doing some irresponsible acts? None. And if he had any psychological issues, he would continue on having them after putting the mask off. But after putting the mask off, he seems like a very socializing, smiling, and having a time of his life kind of dude. To me personally, the mask is his suit and tie. He takes off this mask by putting on Batsuit and returns to his true form. But that's a topic for another video. Of course, there's another side of this coin, and in there, he does not seem very healthy mentally at all. I don't even know where to begin with this. Some of these points are possibly related to his views and philosophies towards life rather than outright psychological issues. For example, why he does what he does can be reduced to his views, beliefs, and values, but becoming personification of vengeance, as he calls himself, this cannot be explained by a very healthy personality or mental traits at all. Seeing yourself as personification of anything probably is not healthy at all. But he does that. He calls himself vengeance. He calls himself shadows. He cannot be seen. He cannot be approached. But when he wants you, he will come out of shadows and become your worst nightmare as a monster. That's what he sees and identifies himself as. Now, with this, I want to move on to his emotional state. And things are going to get sad with this one. This dude is pretty much eaten alive by depression. Just take a listen to what he says and things regarding to his life.
Take my blood, for example.
I wish somebody would.
This stuff is killing me.
Why should I care?
Because now there's a teeny little bit of me in you too, Bats. Oh, come on. Don't tell me it's not what you always wanted. Look, we're running out of time. I need your help. I nearly had a cure. It was so close, and then it was taken from me.
So we both die. I'm fine with that.
Are you? Imagine sucking down that last breath knowing that Gotham is doing the same.
What are you talking about?
Oh, didn't I say? I've spent weeks shipping samples of my blood to emergency rooms all over the city.
So that's Protocol 10. Poison Gotham. I expected more.
Protocol 10? Never heard of it. Hold tight. I'll be in touch!
So we both die.
So we both die.
I'm
fine with that. This is kind of a cold sentence if you think about it. This is what he says in regards to his life. If he could let it happen without it affecting innocence of Gotham, he would probably be really fine with that. He would be fine with his death. This just speaks volumes about how much he's depressed. This is where Batman turns into Sad Man. He is fine with whatever harm happens to him, even death. A similar theme was shot with the newest Batman film.
If I can't have an effect, I don't care what happens to me.
I don't care what happens to me. So this man does not care and doesn't have a will to fight for his preservation of life. He is fine if he dies in a moment. Of course, it cannot be expected from a stoic person to have anxiety and go crazy when he hears about his possible death in minutes. But he is not reactionless about the situation. He is just fine with the situation. He is glad it happens. He won't fight back about it. Another scene where we witness his emotional state closer is all scenes in which he constantly relives the same memory, always going back to that alley where his parents were shot. He all day, every day relives the same memory, only if he could be stronger enough to protect his parents. In Arkham games, we saw him going the same alleyway where his parents were shot at least 3 times, if I remember correctly. The developers wanted us to replay the same scene in different Arkham games because Batman dwells on same memory too often. It's called PTSD. There is no escape for him. This man is just too broken. So, for now, we have a guy who has anger issues, PTSD, depression, and various personality problems, but it does not even sum it all up. Not even close. He is living with the pain of his friend Joker's death after 9 months. Joker died 9 months ago, but he still lives in Batman's head, talking to him, comments him, mocks him, and just interacts with him. Of course, he does not respond back to him vocally, but he just sees an actual real being of him, being with him, even in the most intense moments in which he should be forgotten. I don't know if that has a name in psychology, but these psychotic moments could be beginning of schizophrenia as well. And I'm not even mentioning him zoning out and disassociating and turning into Joker himself with all of those changing eye colors and so on. In the last Arkham game, he was the weakest mentally he's ever been in any form of media that we have seen him. Haven't even talked about Goons talking about his mental state in Arkham Knight after his identity was revealed. And in the ending of that game, we see Bruce alive. Except that this time he went completely lunatic and there is no Bruce at that time. He is full-time Batman now. He went full-time lunatic, probably living in a rock, and only wakes up at night just to come out of shadows and proceed to prey on some criminals. Because we know that he blew Wayne Manor up. That's what I see happening at the end of the trilogy, because he blew himself and his house up. So Bruce is dead, but Batman hasn't, and he has no reason to hide his identity anymore. He can freely be full-time Batman, his real self. I want to end it with a comment from one of his worst enemies, Bane. He wishes him peace and death he never found in life. He also knows how damaged Batman was, and it was what he wanted to tell him.
May you find the peace in death that you did not find in life.
I'm not looking for peace.
Summing it all up, it can be concluded that he is mentally strong, yeah, but eventually his mental health was completely destroyed. Unfortunately, this is a darker story, and there cannot really be said many words to describe this tragedy. It is all very sad, and this is a sad ending to a sad story. And at the very end of the story, they turned the world's greatest detective, the guardian angel of common people, into an insane person, and then got him shot in the head by some cop killing psychopaths. One thing that could be inferred from this story is that no matter how strong you are mentally, if you set foot on purposes bigger than yourself, you will be overwhelmed and they will kill you for it. This is the story of turning the symbol of virtue into a complete madman in the span of 4 games and then killing him for going mad. What this story is trying to say, in a battle of good versus evil, at the end, it'll be evil who prevails.